We are Man vs. Meeple, and for the week starting November 7th through November 20th, this is What's Next.
Welcome back to What's Next, the bi-weekly show where we walk you through all the games coming to your friendly local gaming store. We have a giant list for you guys. All of the Essen titles are starting to hit.
Yep.
Make sure you guys look at the ticker below for all the other titles coming out, and visit us on manvsmeeple.com for a full calendar sponsored by GTS. Let's start off, David. You have number 5.
I've got number 5, and it's Quartz this week from Passport Games. This is a 3 to 5 press your luck mining game.
Yes.
Everyone loves dwarves,
Yeah.
right? You're basically, there's no dice involved in this one. The press your luck comes in pulling gems from a bag. So you're mining in there, and what you're not wanting to get is obsidian.
That's
so
right.
on a player's turn, you're going to be grabbing a gem. So it's got that sort of, the core mechanic is that intense of like, oh, am I going to get another obsidian?
Right.
If you get to obsidian, you're out for the round. You're kicked out of the mine for the day, so you're not going to score anything. But every turn you take, you're taking another. And then if you don't take something out of the bag, you're able to use action cards to sort of mitigate your bad luck.
And that's what really makes the game cool. I've played this before, and the cards themselves, there's a variety of different ones, and you're using those to kind of counterbalance the abilities of yourselves and what the other players are doing.
You can get rid of some obsidian. You can change some things around. So it helps you mitigate that bad luck. And the scoring is really cool, too, because you're not just scoring different colored gems. If you get sets of gems or all different colors, you're able to multiply some scoring. So it's that much more incentive to take another gem out of the bag. So it's a lot of fun. I really recommend it.
And you also have number 4.
Number 4, kind of a bit different theme.
Quite a bit different.
And we've reviewed this one before. We both
have.
like it a lot. Last Friday.
Yeah.
This game is a one versus many. What sets this apart, in my opinion, a lot of one versus many games take a little bit too long for me.
Sure.
This one feels a little bit tighter. I mean, it's still a pretty lengthy game, but it's controlled. It won't go on forever and ever.
Right.
So the one is sort of the Jason type character here, the killer who's running around the camp trying to find the campers who are all the other players. The campers in one round are running away from him, but then the next round when daylight comes, the tables are turned, which is also the really cool hook here, because then Jason, or the killer, or maniac, is on the run, and the campers are coming after him.
I'm trying to fight back,
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a lot of information that you're getting throughout this game, too. A lot of these types of games, sometimes you're just lost through the whole thing if you're hunting the person down. In this one, there's always a little bit of information to sort of keep you guided as to, okay, where was he 3 turns ago? Okay, we need to go over here. So, really fun game, and the theme is fantastic for that sort of gameplay.
Changing paces again, we're going to look at Fabled Fruit by Stronghold Games. This is a Friedman Freeze game, and it is 2 to 5 players, takes about 30 minutes to get through. And the new mechanic in this is called the Fable mechanic. And it's a little bit like a legacy game in which the game and the core mechanics change the more that you play. When you start the game, you're going to have a specific set of cards in front of you, and as you play more of the game, new cards will be introduced, which change the mechanics and the mechanisms by which you play the game. Really, really cool idea. Players are going to be going through, doing set collection, collecting juices, combining those juices to do new aspects.
So every time you play this, you have the choice, though, right? I mean, you can start fresh.
Sure.
Or you can just keep it going using some of the lingering aspects from your last game.
And the game has probably 20 playthroughs before you can reset the deck and play through it again. But each of your playthroughs is going to be different depending upon the actions that you take.
Very cool. You'd never expect that from looking at this game, that it has a legacy aspect at all. But that's really, really cool.
So, 2. What do you got?
Number 2. This is Bloodborne, which we've also reviewed.
That's right.
This thing came out, well, we got it at Gen Con. It's just now finally hitting retail, thankfully. It's coming from Simon, and this is a 3 to 5 player co-opportunistic is a term that I've heard thrown around for this type of game. But make no mistake, while thematically you're cooperating against these boss-type characters, these monsters, it's a competitive game.
It is.
And it's a competitive game about timing, which is really cool. So what happens is a monster will come out, and then you're leading up to a boss creature.
Right.
If you've ever played Bloodborne, it's really good thematically. I mean, that really heightens the enjoyment of this game, but it's a good game overall. So everyone's sort of picking away at this boss, but the timing comes in, because when the boss dies, you want to be, the guy who killed it. the guy who's done a lot of damage.
Yeah.
So you kind of play cards, and you're all using the same action deck that can build throughout the game. So
and that looming death aspect of it is really cool too. There's a take that aspect to the game, but players, it's in a very non-aggressive way. It's almost in a fun way that the game handles it. Dying is almost enjoyable at certain aspects of it.
Just like Bloodborne.
Yeah.
I mean, just like the video game, it's about dying and dying and dying. You have to get used to that fact. And in this one, especially when the monsters attack, it has this mechanism where you're rolling these dice that it'll do damage, and some of them will just make you roll again, and you do more damage and more damage, and all of a sudden, before you know it, everyone at the table's died. Or a lot of people.
And that makes the game fun,
and
actually, which is surprisingly fun. Yeah.
Right.
Number one is a game that I've been looking forward to a while. I am a huge Lord of the Rings LCG fan by FFG. This is another one of their takes on that style of gameplay. It's called Arkham Horror, the card game. And we just got it, and I can't tell you how excited I am to play this game.
We haven't played it. We just got it the other day.
I have not, and it's designed by Nate French and Matthew Newman. Nate French is historically one of the most popular Lord of the Rings designers for that series of games. This is all about being an investigator and playing through a scenario in which you are trying to discover a mystery. The cool hook in this game is that it can be played through a campaign. Your player is building up experience and buying new cards that go into your deck, so you can play it over each successive expansion that comes out in the game. Really, really cool. And the pass-fail in this is really neat, too. If you fail, your character can die, and you'll have to start with a new investigator through the entire campaign again.
Wow.
You can also kind of back out of a campaign, which is really neat, and keep your experience, but also pay some kind of penalty by either including negative weakness cards into your deck and then trying to purge those out as the game goes on.
I've always heard, and you've told me yourself, that this system from Lord of the Rings in particular really lends itself well to the solo play. Which is, there's not a lot of games that do that. So I'm looking forward to trying this. I'm not much of a solo player, but I think I might want to try this.
It's going to be a huge hit. There's no doubt.
Oh, yeah.
So, as always, guys, make sure you guys go to our website, check out the GTS calendar for all the releases coming out over the next 2 weeks. Before we go, we have another gaming store that we want to focus on, and it is Game On.
Yeah, Game On from Puyallup, Washington. I think I pronounced that correctly.
I don't know if you did or not, but that sounds right.
And this is another store. In fact, these are, I think it was one of the first people that reached out to us after our first episode, said, hey, how can we get featured? They sent us a bunch of pictures, staff, and you're probably seeing them right now on the screen. The store is very, very well organized, and if you can tell, that's a theme with us. Jeremy and I like organization in general, but these organized stores are just pleasant to go into. They're very professional. I mean, this sounds silly, but they're all wearing, they have shirts, uniform shirts with that, which I think really just adds a nice level of
professionalism to the store.
Who you can look to for help.
Right.
And that's another thing they really try to do. They told me that they really try to staff up in a way that's diverse, so that no matter whether you're a Magic player, a Yu-Gi-Oh player, a board gamer, whatever.
Sure.
There's someone there that can help you. So they don't cater to just the Magic crowd just this crowd. They really try to bring everybody in.
That's a great way of doing business.
It absolutely is. Every game store should really operate that way, because if you go down too far into one little channel, it really pigeonholes you for sure.
So guys, please make sure that you guys submit to us via Facebook, your store, and we'll get it focused here on what's next. Check out in 2 weeks as we bring you even more Essen titles.
I'm sure there's going to be plenty.
There's a lot. Thanks, guys. We are Man vs. Meeple. I'm Jeremy Salinas, and this is David Waybright, and we'll catch you guys again next time.
Bye-bye.